Alright class, welcome back to the Dunder Mifflin Scranton Office Model Project. As we're modeling this office, keep in mind these tasks are created to help you hone the skills that you'll need to not only finish your projects for this course, but to learn these techniques as you move forward and head out into the real world. Today we're going to be focusing on all of the curtain walls or glazed walls within the interior of the Scranton branch and on the exterior. You have been provided a base Revit project file for this assignment. Within that file, we have preloaded specific system families pertaining to the storefront systems we'll use and the door panel families that we'll use inside those curtain walls to create our solid panel, our full view and half view doors. You've also been provided a CAD document of the layout of these curtain walls to make it a little easier to place these curtain walls. On that CAD document, for the doors and exterior windows, you'll see generic dimensions giving us a width, a height, and in some instances, a sill height off of the finished floor. As we go through this exercise, I'll walk you through these steps of creating all of these openings in the interior and exterior walls. So now let's go ahead and insert that storefront layout CAD document that you've been provided. We'll navigate to the Insert tab, Import CAD, and find the Dunder Mifflin Storefront Wall Base, DWG. Click on it, but don't insert it yet. Let's check a few things at the bottom first. We want to make sure that Current View Only box is checked, the colors are set to black and white, the positioning is set to origin, and all levels from that CAD document are available. If those are all set and ready to go, let's click Open, and it should insert to our 0, point, which it did, and it's perfectly in line with our existing walls. If we zoom in, we can see some of the door swings and some of the annotation associated with that DWG document, but we can't see any of the layout of our storefront. This is because if we click on our CAD document and in the status bar, this document is set to background. You can change that with the drop down and set it to foreground, but for this case, because we want to draw openings and we want our storefront to cover that document, we want to keep that in the background, and you'll see why here in a second. So we're going to do things a little backwards from the last tutorial. We're going to keep that in the background. We're going to change our graphic display from hidden line to wireframe, and then we're going to select our DWG, right click, override graphics in view by element, projection lines. The pattern object is going to be solid, and then we're going to change that to red. Say OK and OK again. What that does is it keeps all of our live model elements on top of that CAD document, but wherever there is something inside the perimeter of that wall, like these cut-in curtain wall, this cut-in curtain wall layout, we'll see that red. And when we draw on top of it, because it's set to the background, that will disappear and let us know what we have drawn of our model elements and what we have not. So we can see each one of these windows or doors have some dimensions set to them, a width dimension, a height dimension, and then a sill height from the finished floor dimension. So that 1 foot sill height means that the bottom of that window is at 1 foot above the finished floor. Let's go ahead and start modeling the exterior windows. So if we navigate to our Architecture tab, Wall, and make sure that we have our curtain wall storefront selections open. We want to choose the storefront option. This is an option that's been preloaded and manipulated so that it has no interior mullion pattern. It's just clean glazing with an anodized black aluminum frame. We're going to select that and draw all of our perimeter or exterior perimeter windows with this storefront system family. So we can see that these first two windows here on the exterior for the entryway and for Michael Scott's office are 5 feet in width, 8 feet in height, and 1 foot sill height. So in our properties browser, let's change a few things or make sure we have a few things set up. Our base offset, which is the distance from our level 1 0 foot 0 base constraint, we want that set at 1 foot because that's what our sill height would be. And then our top constraint we want set at unconnected, and our unconnected height we want set at 8 feet, which is our height for that window. Now we can just simply hover over the center line of the wall and trace over that curtain wall. So you can see I didn't fully get to the end or snap to that edge, so I can still see some red lines. If I click that center line of the curtain wall and just pull it till it snaps, once that red is gone, I know I have fully covered the entire space and made an accurate window. So we're going to do that again. And knock out those two windows. So let's go to a 3D view just to make sure we're rocking and rolling on the right path. So if we look at that, select one of our walls, our solid walls, and look at some of the information that's given here to us. Level 1 is the base constraint of that basic wall. The base offset is 0, so we know it's at the 0 level 1 floor plan. And then our top constraint is set to level 2, which the height is 10 feet. So if we just look at these walls and use our intuition, we can see we've got about a 1 foot gap between the top sill here and the top of the wall, and about a 1 foot gap between the bottom of that wall and the bottom sill. That means we're rocking and rolling and we've got the correct window size and window placement going based on that layout and those dimensions we've been given. So let's scroll back up and go to our level 1 floor plan and draw the rest of these perimeter exterior windows. Now once we get to these plan south openings, we've got a different sill height here. So where we have a base offset of 1 foot above finished floor, these windows are set at a sill height of 3 feet. So we want to make sure that we've changed that sill height. We also see that the height of these windows, the overall height, is not 8 feet, it's now 5 feet. So this is a 4 foot width by 5 foot height window set at a 3 foot sill height. So we want to change that unconnected height to 5 feet. And now we can draw the plan south windows. You can also see that I'm drawing that glazed panel is offset to the top of where our CAD layout is. To flip that or mirror that in place on that center line, I just hit my space bar and it will flip that down to the correct offset. Looks good. Let's go back to level 1 floor plan. And let's start inserting some curtain walls or storefront walls and doors. Let's start with the front entry door and look at what we're given here from a dimension standpoint. A 3'6" width door by 7-foot door. Full view, wood framed. So the first thing we want to do is draw our curtain wall to this dimension layout. So we're going to select curtain wall, storefront, but this time we want to set those dimensions, 3'6" width, which will get done. Really, we only have to set the height and the sill height. So a 7-foot height, so top constraint unconnected, change that 5 feet to 7 feet, and we want our base offset here to be 0 because this is a door and a curtain wall we're drawing. Okay? So base constraint level 1, base offset 0, and unconnected height 7 feet. Let's pull that curtain wall across. So let's look at that temporary dimension there, 3 foot 10 inches. That is not 3 feet 6 inches, like our full door. The reason is we've got 2-inch thick mullions on either side, so we have to account for those mullions for our full opening. So our full opening width is 3 feet 10, with 2-inch mullions equals 4 inches, and that would give us a full door width of 3 foot 6. To place that door, let's navigate to a 3D view. Here is that storefront wall that we just drew. I'm going to change my graphic display from shaded to hidden line because it's easier to pick up the lines of these panels because we're going to have to tab through, select that panel, and then delete some mullions to get that door correct. So the first thing I want to do is hover over those panel lines that you can see there. Tab key until I select that panel, and it'll say curtain panel, system panel glazed. And I want to click. Now, these are automatically by default pinned, so I need to unlock that or unpin it by clicking this push pin. Once I do, the properties become ungrayed, and I can drop that down and scroll up and select the full view panel with a birch surround. And it inserts my door automatically. And the beauty of the curtain wall panels is when I select this bottom mullion, because we wouldn't have that in a doorway, I can unpin it and delete it, and it will automatically size to that door opening. Now I've got my first door set. Let's go back to our level 1 and look at that swing. So the swing is off from our underlay. If I simply click that door swing and hit the little flip buttons, it will flip it to, or mirror it to the correct side, and then I need to flip it to the other side. All my red underlay is gone, and I should be good. Now let's check out this second door with 2 side lights. So let's look at our text. We've got a 3.0 by 7.0, 3 feet width by 7 foot width, solid flush birch door. So this isn't going to have an opening or any kind of glazing on it. It's a solid door. So the first thing we do, easily grab that curtain wall storefront, start with the center line, We can see my glazing is on the wrong side, so I want to mirror that. Just hit my space bar and pull to the end. So now I need to put a door inside that one single panel, but I have no curtain grids or nowhere to put that door because this is one single panel and I need to cut that panel up. So I'm going to go up to my architecture tab and select the curtain grid tool. I'm going to come down and hover over in the center of that mullion. The reason I'm hovering in the center is because I'm going to again place a 2-inch thick mullion in that space, and I need 1 inch on one side and 1 inch on the other to create that 2-inch thickness. If I was to hover over a line and place it on a line, then my door width would not equal 3 feet. So I can see that I'm centered up on that and even because I've got a 1 foot 5 inch width or distance from the wall on my left side, and now I'm hovering and I've got a 1 foot 5 inch distance from the inside of the wall right side. Now I've got 3 curtain panels, 2 side lights, and one that's going to become a solid flush birch door. So again, we're going to shift to that 3D view. And zoom in on that new curtain wall. And we're going to select that panel by using our tab key once we've hovered over, unpin it, drop down, and find our solid birch curtain panel door and choose that. And then again, we're going to get rid of that bottom mullion by using our tab key, unlocking and deleting that bottom mullion so nobody's tripping coming in. It looks pretty good so far, but again, we haven't placed those mullions or jambs now for that door. That door wouldn't be able to open if we didn't have some kind of structure there. So we want to go to our mullion tool now. Drop down and make sure that our 2-inch by 4-inch rectangular mullion is selected. And then hover over that jamb until our grid line highlights and place our grid line. Let's go back to our level 1 floor plan. Make sure our swing is correct and all of our red is gone. That way we know we have correctly drawn our wall. So now we're going to do the same thing for Michael Scott's storefront wall and the conference room storefront wall. However, so for these instances, under the wall category, instead of the curtain wall storefront, we're going to use the curtain wall storefront with 7-foot transom. And we're going to use the same method that we used for this front door by pulling a clean wall and then cutting our vertical grids So one thing we could see as we're looking at 3D view, I had this curtain wall selected, the storefront with the 7-foot transom, and we don't see that 7-foot transom. All we see is a 7-foot storefront wall. The reason is because our height is set at 7 feet, and if our unconnected height doesn't go above 7 feet, then we're not going to see that transom crossing that. So we need to change our height. We've got a ceiling height, or we're going to have a ceiling height of 9 feet. So we want to change that unconnected height to 9 feet. And once we swing out, we can see that transom that provides us a 2-foot clear story above that door. We're going to do the same for Michael Scott's office. So again, it's always good practice to make sure you're checking your properties browser to make sure all of your dimensions are set and that you've checked all the boxes when you start to draw. The beauty is you can always come back and fix it later, like I just did after I drew it without looking. So now we've got the two major storefront walls on the interior drawn. So let's round out this assignment by following our CAD document that we've inserted into level 1 and completing the rest of the storefront openings. Quick note, this 3'6" dimension for that door is incorrect and should be a 3'0" dimension. Just note that when you're drawing. Again, I made the mistake of drawing these two doors without checking my properties and resetting that base offset to 0 feet off of finished floor and changing the height to 7 feet overall. Okay, it looks like we have drawn over all of the CAD background because we're not seeing any red where a curtain wall opening should be. let's go to our 3D view and check it out and see if we've done a fairly decent job. We're going to change our graphic display to consistent colors. And orbit around to make sure everything is jiving. Looks good. All right. We are rocking and rolling on our Dunder Mifflin Scranton office. I hope you guys have a good time with this assignment and can grasp fairly easily and quickly the curtain wall tool. In Revit, it is a powerful tool. Once you become adept at it, you will be able to quickly model openings and what could have been a complex modeling problem and make that something that's very, very efficient. I hope you guys have a great week. If you need me, you can always reach out, email me, and I'll be glad to help. Thanks a lot.